Tonight, public servants are irate over delayed salary payments. Minister Mary Isaac says, take it up with your unions.
We were expecting, as a government, that the trade unions would have signed off by a deadline that they were given so that the Treasury would have been able to pay.
The government is called upon to put an end to sweetheart deals for investors to make up for a bad business environment. And the taxi union says good riddance to its former president. We have the details of these stories and more coming up.
This is the Hot 7 Nightly News with Lovelace and Amy Joseph.
Good night. It is Thursday, the 22nd of August, 2019. Welcome to the Hot 7 TV Nightly News. We're on Flow, channel 117. Also being simulcast on Kiss FM 105.5 and 105.9. We're live on Facebook at Caribbean Hot TV, on our website www.caribbeanhottv.com, and on our free Caribbean Hot FM mobile app. I'm lovely St. Amy Joseph. Thank you for joining us. If public servants are looking for someone to blame for not receiving their salary payments as of Thursday morning, they should look no further than their unions. That's according to the former president of the Civil Service Association turned minister, Mary Isaac. Very early Thursday morning, social media was abuzz with posts by public servants who said they received surprises at local ATMs, not the good kind. Salaries had not been posted for public servants. At approximately 10:15 a.m., a release by the Ministry of Finance explained that the Accountant General's Department worked assiduously to ensure that the commitment by the government of St. Lucia to process the August salaries using the new pay rates and benefits was met. They say this was despite the limited time for processing to meet the August 22nd pay date. The department assured that the posting of salaries would commence before the end of Thursday, the 22nd of August. Former CSA President Mary Isaac says the government or the Accountant General's Department are not to blame, given that unions did not sign the collective agreement on Thursday, the 15th of August.
We were expecting, as a government, that the trade unions would have signed off by a deadline that they were given so that the Treasury would have been able to pay. They actually moved the deadline so that they can, facilitate signing off by the trade unions. And I believe that it was only yesterday or the day before that they signed off and paid. As you know, public servants are getting paid today. So how much time have they given the Treasury to process that payment?
Nonetheless, the minister did commend public sector unions for wrapping up negotiations for not one but two trienniums from the 1st of April 2016 to the 31st of March 2019, at the 1st of April 2019 to the 31st of March 2022. She says it will allow a level of stability over the next few years.
I think that we have to commend the public workers for the negotiation process, the way it went. It is unprecedented that we have had a negotiation covering 6 years. So this is unprecedented. It has never happened in St. Lucia before. And it is putting us in a very good place in terms of our fiscal prudence, because we now can budget for the upcoming years in terms of what it is that we are going to, the increases we are going to give to public servants. So let me say my applause goes out to all the unions that negotiated so swiftly and so effectively.
Public sector unions agreed to a $1,800 lump sum plus 2% for the first triennium. For the second triennium, a total of 4% that breaks down into 1% for 2019 to 2020, another 1% for 2020 to 2021, and 2% for the period 2021 to 2022. Well, the CSA is not taking the blame for late salary payments, not when it agreed to the rate of increase and conditions of work more than a month ago. The association's president says he's very dissatisfied with the approach taken by the government with respect to the payment of salaries. According to the president of the CSA, Cyprian Montrop, the trade union federation to which the CSA is affiliated mandated the government negotiating team GNT to process salaries since the month of June. He says public officers have always received their salaries from as early as midnight before payday. In a written statement, the president notes, quote, government sent out a press release after the fact when no public officer had received their pay to take care of things like breakfast and lunch, children expenses, and so on. The release seems to suggest that the signing of the collective agreement halted the processing of salaries. The CSA wishes to place on record that the government was the party that created the instance for getting the collective agreement signed as late as the 20th of August. End quote. The CSA president says this entire affair is disrespectful to public officers to receive a notice of late payment of salaries on payday. He says the government could have been more concerned and provide both the union and the workers with an indication of their inability to meet the payday deadline rather than leave public officers irate over their salaries. The chairman of the Ayanola Council for the Advancement of Rastafari, Aaron Alexander, is taking the government to task for its rapid movement to ensure legislation is intact with respect to gaming, racing, and betting. He says the Rastafarian community has been seeking action as it concerns decriminalization of cannabis, yet the government has dragged its feet on that issue. Alexander says the industry has the capacity to create numerous avenues for growth within the economy, yet the focus of the current administration is on gaming and betting. Solange Alfred tells us more.
On the table for approval at the most recent sitting of the House of Assembly was modification to the Gaming, Racing and Betting Bill. Parliamentarians made necessary adjustments to the bill to ensure ironclad legislation governs over the gaming and betting realm on Ireland. However, the quick pace with which the legislation moved through Parliament has received opposition from President of the Ayanola Council for the Advancement of Rastafari, Aaron Alexander, who says the speed to accommodate gambling, racing and betting compared to the speed the cannabis movement received is a clear sign of hypocrisy on the part of the St. Lucian government.
While I'm not one to just condemn things, especially when it comes to government and so on, I always like to give government the benefit of the doubt. But I really view this whole thing of pushing legislation as far as gaming and betting is concerned in St. Lucia, pushing these things through Parliament so quickly. I look at that as the double-sidedness of government and the hypocrisy of government, whereby we know the issue of cannabis and what cannabis can do for our nation. And this thing is being dragged along. And up to now, we can't get nothing definitive from the government. Always a commission here and a commission there. And yet you have gaming and betting and these things. You never have all this tralala of commission here and commission there. And it seems to be going through so rapidly.
Alexander says the economic impact of a cannabis industry on a small developing state is substantial, and the slow pace being taken by the government on the issue will keep the island from fully benefiting from the decriminalization and legalization of cannabis.
So it just shows the hypocrisy of the government as far as some issues are concerned, where they would push forward other things and other ideas that can actually create such great employment and have great economic impact on the society. They seem to be shunning that and keeping that back, So I want to really see the day when we could actually move forward on the issue of cannabis and ensure that, we change the laws and we take this thing to the next level. Because, look, Dominica, going forward, and so many Caribbean countries, OECS countries are moving forward, and we just seem to be stuck in the mud. And I really don't know what's going on with the government as far as this issue is concerned. But I'm remaining hopeful and optimistic. But Rastafari, we have our different course of action that we are already planning what we have to do. So we'll see what happens.
In March of 2019, Prime Minister Alan Shasney alluded to the decriminalization of marijuana. The Prime Minister is quoted as saying, "We've agreed that we'll be going through a process of decriminalization." End quote. Reporting for Hot 7 News, I am Solange Alfred.
St. Lucia is not an attractive place to do business, and so government finds itself almost paying investors to invest. So says the Executive Director of the St. Lucia Employers Federation, Joseph Alexander. He says it's a peculiar and dangerous position to be in, and only a significant climb in the ease of doing business rankings will remedy the situation. St. Lucia continues a downward spiral on the ease of doing business rankings, despite what the government says has been steady strategies to improve the country's rank. The Executive Director of the St. Lucia Employers Federation, Joseph Alexander, is not convinced. St. Lucia is ranked 93 among 190 economies in the ease of doing business, according to the latest World Bank annual ratings. The rank of St. Lucia deteriorated to 93 in 2018 from 91 in 2017. Alexander says things that should be simple processes are still taking an outrageous amount of time.
Key one really is obtaining permission from the DCA this by law, under the Act, you should really get permission from the DCA for a building construction of 2 weeks. And if you check, it takes in excess of 2 months. So these are the things that reflect when the survey is carried out. A driver moving containers on the wharf says that it takes him on average over 6 hours to get a container off the docks. I mean, where on God's green earth is a container supposed to take 6 hours to come off the docks?
He says it cannot be business as usual when it comes to the red tape and bureaucracy that seems to pervade every sector.
Once your rating begin to go down, the investors stop looking at you, because an investor comes in, he has money to invest, right? And he wants to invest. Time is money. So if you're going to keep dragging on how long he gets permission to get things done, he's not going to invest in the country. And we could see it easily by the lack of foreign direct investments we've had over the years.
The result, Joseph says, has been that St. Lucia has had to go above and beyond to entice investors.
Some of the investments we're looking at are what we call sweetheart deals, where government is virtually giving the investor money to invest. Because if we just wait for the investor on his own initiative, when he looks at our ranking and the difficulty of doing business in St. Lucia, he's not going to come in.
The Ease of Doing Business Index ranks countries against each other based on how the regulatory environment is conducive to business operation. Economies with a high rank, that's 1 to 20, have a regulatory environment that is conducive to the starting and operation of a business. This is the Hot 7 TV Nightly News. When we come back, the Owen King EU transitioning moves into its final stages, and St. Lucia is securing more seats out of the UK to counter the Virgin Atlantic pullout. That and more when we return.